Hideaway Homestead 2. We're continuing our series or playlist about being prepared on the homestead. And today our thoughts are about preparing for medical situations, emergencies, injuries, illnesses, those kinds of things, and what we like to keep on hand here so that we can handle those things as much as possible on our own.
Yes.
We don't have to run off to the doctor's office every time for something that's costly. It takes a lot of time, and sometimes they aren't available. In the future, they may not be available like they are today. So we have gathered up a bunch of things on our homestead that have come in handy. And Kevin can explain to you a situation where having items on hand really came in handy.
Yes.
And it helped us out a lot. We've used these items so many times. So give us some ideas after you watch this and let us know what we left out.
Okay.
So Kevin, why don't you give us an example of why it's important to have health aids on your farm or your homestead or in your house?
Okay, yeah, let me tell you a little story that happened to me. It's been probably, I don't even know how long it's been, a couple 3 years ago. We were processing chickens here on the farm, teaching a processing class. Of course, we had finished up the class and everybody had left and that sort of thing, and we were cleaning up. We were cleaning the chicken plucker. Our friend Kevin from church was helping us, and he was actually cleaning the plucker, and I was putting stuff away in the shed. And I came back over and he had the plucker running with water running in it to wash it out, get the feathers out and that kind of thing. And I've done this 1,000 times. It's never been an issue, but while it was running, I stuck my hand up inside the chute where all the feathers come out and was just pulling the feathers out of there because they get stuck behind the barrel of that spins. And while the water was running, I was just going to pull them out. Well, I accidentally got my thumb sticking up a little too far. It should have been flatter, and the bottom of the barrel hit the end of my thumb, completely busted the end of my thumb open, knocked my hand out of the chute. On the way out, my wrist caught the edge of the metal and it sliced my wrist open. Carol said she could see the leaders in my finger. It cut me pretty bad. And so, of course, I immediately grabbed it and ran in the house, and she was in the house, and she said, "What'd you do?" And I told her what happened. And so we had to patch that up. We were talking this morning, and we think that just sort of falls in the category of that was pretty stupid, you know?
Okay. We have to admit, it wasn't, don't do this at home, at your home, for sure.
Yeah, that was one of those.
Don't ever do this again.
Oh,
Kevin.
no. That was one of those things to where you can
just
say.
Wasn't thinking.
You can just say, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, so in the midst of all this is, we had to patch me up and get that thing taken care of, and now I've got a busted thumb and a cut wrist, and yeah, I look like I've been in a war or something.
The good thing is that we had already stocked the cabin, the homestead here, with a lot of
medical stuff,
medical supplies, and we're big on keeping things on hand in stock for an emergency, because the emergencies are things we didn't plan for, and this was an emergency. Fortunately, we had a bunch of betadine. A friend of ours brings us betadine samples. I poured that over this injury. And what did you say?
It set me on fire. It was the most unbelievable burning I think I've ever experienced. But it needed it.
Yeah, this is what they use in the operating rooms to sanitize, purify the wound area. So we got all the miscellaneous chicken feathers out of it, I guess. And then we have available here 2 sizes right now of these non-stick pads, gauze pads, and we have refreshed our supply and doubled up on our supply of these because they have been just wonderful to have on hand. The thing about these is the non-stick factor.
Yes.
Because then when you have to change it out for your dressing, I guess you could call that, it doesn't stick to the skin and you don't pull off the scab that is just formed and get it bleeding again. So these have been great, and to have those on hand was wonderful. We always keep triple antibiotic cream. I know some people don't
Lots
like
of
it, but it has cured a lot of little ills and serious ills for us, and it heals quickly. Now we do have other natural herbal things, but especially in a situation like this where it was such a deep cut, this was a good thing to have on hand and to put on that wound. And then I have come to love this stretchy bandage stuff. I don't know the real word for it. This says cohesive bandage on a package here, but this stuff can put enough pressure on it so when he had this wound and it's bleeding here, and of course it had the bandage, then I could put this on fairly tight for a while, not a tourniquet, but fairly tight, and it sticks to itself, so you don't have tape and bandaging and adhesive stuck to your arm, but I could put a good bit of pressure on it to stop that bleeding. So yeah, that was a wonderful thing to have on hand, and saved us from a trip to the emergency room for sure. You know, some other things that I think we bought after that incident was Bleed Stop. This is something you can get in your Walmart,
Camping
Walgreens,
area,
whatever.
Sporting goods area. I think it's in the sporting goods section. I think.
How about that?
Yeah.
So anyway, looks like it's a powder. We haven't used this before.
No, we haven't tried it yet.
But if you've got a bleeding wound, it'd be good to have that on hand to stop the bleeding. We've got gobs of packages of bandages.
Just different kind of
Band-Aids here, every size.
Peroxide is a good thing to use on a cut to clean it.
And I like this one because it sprays.
It's a spray,
And otherwise you end up with a lot.
Yeah.
Butterfly bandages is what I call these. They don't say that on here. They call them fabric bandages, but that also can be good if you have an open wound and you want to draw it together. And then sometimes you can wrap things with what I called it ace
bandages.
Yeah. And that would also be good for other types of injuries. If you've got a sprain, something like that, a strained muscle or tendons, we have these in various sizes and thicknesses. This one I believe is more for an ankle or a wrist because it's narrower, but we've got a larger one,
a wider one too,
for your knee, I guess. Would be something good for that. We keep our supplies, a lot of them, not all of them, in these shoe boxes, and then they're labeled. This one says wound care, so if we need the triple antibiotic, we need Band-Aids, sorry for the brand name, what do they call them? Adhesive bandages, gauze pads, those kinds of things are found in here, and then we know where to go to get those things in a hurry, and it keeps the closet shelves organized so that we can access things quickly and we know where to look for them. One other thing just to mention now is where we get these things. We picked these up at discount stores. Some of it probably is a Dollar Tree brand. Even this looks like a Dollar Tree kind of packaging to me.
Dollar Tree, Dollar General. I think these came from Dollar General.
Or Family Dollar.
Or Family Dollar.
Family Dollar.
Family Dollar.
Of course, Walmart. Those kinds of things. You don't have to go buy the most expensive brand, but something that works. But I really do suggest you get a lot of this kind of stuff. We're talking about prepping, things to prepare that you have on hand so you're not dependent on other people, and you can handle some of the emergencies that come up on the homestead.
You already did.
We're going to open up some of these boxes and show you some ideas of what we have divided into these other categories, just to give you some more thoughts on what you might want to look into. Kevin,
This
box number
one
one.
is called Skin Itch. We wrote that on here and taped it on there just so we know. And there's a few different things in here. This is called After Bite. It is good for if you get bitten by a mosquito or stung by a bee or a wasp or something like that. Biting flies, fire ants, any of those kinds of things. You can use this to put it on. It works. We use it all the time because we get stung with bees when we're working our bees sometimes. Another thing is calamine lotion. This is a good itch preventer also. And there again, I think this came from Walmart. In fact, it did. To see it from
Equate
Walmart.
brand.
Yeah, Equate brand.
I remember having chicken pox and being covered all over with those pink little spots.
Yeah, yeah.
Hydrocortisone cream,
Yeah.
good for itches and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we keep a lot of this stuff on hand for various reasons.
A couple of ideas that you might not have thought of. This one gets used often, cold and allergy, cough drops. One of my favorites is the honey and lemon. You know, if you were trying to get rest and you've got a cold or a cough and you can't get rest to get over it because you keep coughing, and it's so frustrating to lay in bed and be coughing, and so if you can just have a cough drop, that can help a lot. Okay, here's one that I end up using often.
Allergy relief. Again, this can be used if you don't have any of the other stuff we just talked about. If you get stung by something,
That's true.
You can use this. It's an antihistamine.
It's more like a Benadryl.
It's a Benadryl
capsule,
type of
but
thing.
it's the store brand, I guess.
Store brand, yep. What else we got in our little
Cough syrup. I'm not real big on cough syrup, but we do keep a couple around.
This is a daytime multi-symptom cough, severe cold medication.
Sort of like Dayquil.
Yeah, kind of like a NyQuil or a Dayquil or something like that. Again, like Carol said, we don't use this stuff very often, but if we get an extreme case of something that we just can't seem to get over, then we'll go to something like that.
And we're talking again the possibility if you can't get to a doctor.
Right.
Sometimes the doctors are so backed up if there's a big virus going around or something like that, you can't get in to see them until you've either already cured yourself from the situation or just decided to live with it. We like Vicks Vapor Rub kind of thing.
Yeah.
When I opened this bin, it smelled like Vicks Vapor Rub.
Yeah, that's good.
Just some ideas of what to keep on hand. Also, I have asthma symptoms, and so I have a prescription inhaler for that. But now you can get Primatene Mist over the counter, and we have bought it several times at Walmart, and I think probably the other drugstores, but we just happen to be in Walmart more frequently, and it does almost as good a job as my prescription inhaler. But if you were to get a bad reaction to something, a bad allergy, or not be able to breathe, that's scary when you can't draw a full breath.
It is.
And if you're forced to be at home, or if you have guests even that come and need something like this, I keep these within arm's reach most of the time, although I don't need them that frequently.
Right.
But yeah, this is something you might want to look into. I was very surprised that they put that over the counter after so many years of being a prescription.
Yeah,
so.
and there again, check with your doctor.
Yes.
We're not doctors.
No,
we're not telling you, we're not giving you medical advice. We're just telling you what we do and what works for her. So if you have something like this that you need, check with your doctor first before you just go buy something off the counter.
Very true, very true. Bladder infections, yeast infections, they always seem to hit you right about 4:30 on a Friday, and just as they're closing up all the doctor's offices and you can't get a prescription or something like that, I have found Azo to be a good brand of products. Some people say it's all psychosomatic, but my brain says I feel better after using these and cranberry juice or something like that. So if that'll help you get over the worst symptoms until you can get to a doctor or until you can treat it some other way. This is a saline solution for sensitive eyes, sterile. Stuff blows up in our eyes around here.
Oh, yeah.
And this is an eye wash. We also have a saline nasal spray that can really help relieve a stuffed up head without putting a lot of chemicals into your body. We've got Carmex in this one, allergy eye relief. I have found that if I'm having allergy issues, getting my eyes taken care of can sometimes alleviate a lot of the other problems. Here's artificial tears. Sometimes that's good. Regular eye drops, and
What's that? It's an Oragel.
Oragel for mouth pain.
If you have mouth wounds of some kind or sore gums or whatever, that works good for that.
So maybe you haven't thought ahead for some of the situations that might affect your eyes, ears, throat kind of a thing. And then this is pain relief, which starts out with generic acetaminophen and or ibuprofen. I don't know the difference very much. Here's some more acetaminophen, but these are also other pain relievers.
It's a pain relief patch if you have a sore muscles or some kind of a sprain or strained muscle, whatever. This is good for that. You can put it on shoulders or your neck, your knee, or wherever.
Looks like this is a larger version of the same.
Yeah, again, this kind of stuff is stuff that you can expect working on a farm. Sore muscles and hurting all over.
Yeah.
We relate to that quite well.
Here's a muscle rub compound. Don't think we have used that very often. No. What kind of things do you think you need to keep on hand for injuries, illnesses at your homestead, wherever? You need to have these things on hand. As growing up, I remember our medicine cabinets in the bathroom, the hall closet. We had these things available, and they're good to have on hand.
They really are, yeah.
Call it prepping or whatever.
Being prepared.
Being prepared, just thinking ahead. We don't know what the future holds, and if we plan for all these emergencies, we definitely would have everything on hand, but we don't get to plan sometimes in advance. Accidents happen and they aren't planned. That's part of the definition, I think.
Yeah.
Accident.
I think so. We hope that some of this will give you some ideas about some things if you haven't thought of it already. If you have thought of some of this and you're planning some of this stuff too, leave us a comment and tell us what you're doing.
Also, every time we finish a video like this, then we walk back in the house and we say, oh, we didn't think of this or we didn't think of that. So please fill in the gaps. And when we go to put these things away, we're going to say, oh, we didn't mention this.
Yeah, we should have said this or that.
So please fill in our gaps for everybody else that follows behind. And thank you very much for watching. If you've watched to this point, we appreciate it very much.
All right. Thanks for joining us.